All right. Good morning, everybody. Brad Roltgen here with the Fresno Bitcoin and cryptocurrency investors group. Today, we're talking about our favorite topic, taxes and getting those earnings reported correctly on our tax returns. We're going to try to talk a little more specifics today and maybe tackle some of the challenges each of us have had. We've talked about this topic each of the last 2 years. And so that we kind of covered the basic process of how to go through and connect the tools to our exchanges or upload a file of the transactions that we've downloaded from an exchange, that kind of thing. So let me kind of go through and see where everybody's at, and I'll kind of start. In the past, I've used cointracking.info way back when, and then they did not support the DeFi transactions very well a couple of years ago, so I ended up using Zen Ledger to cover those transactions. And I, had to kind of merge both of the data from both of them for my tax person, so that was fun. This last year, Chris showed us Coin Ledger, which I think had been rebranded from another name from previous. So this year, my big thing is I started using that trading bot that we talked about back April of last year. So I've had more transactions this year that I need to keep track of. So my goal was to just start fresh with Coin Ledger, since that seemed to be one of the better ones as of last year, and just go in there and do that. So I've been doing that. The problem that I've run into is that bot was connected to KuCoin, which now us in the US can't use. And so, we've kind of been kicked out. So I did get back into it yesterday, to be able to log in. They wouldn't let me set up an API to connect with Coin Ledger, which that's always the easiest way, because they wanted me to go through the verification and all that, which that wasn't going to work. But they did let me generate a downloadable file. So I started that process last night. It was going to take, an hour or something. So I need to go back today and grab that. So that's something. If you guys have been doing any trades on KuCoin last year, you'll have to do it with a downloadable file as far as that goes. So let me kind of just go around and see who's using what and that kind of thing. I got Gabe, you're first on the list, so I'll start with you. Where are you at on these tools this year?
Yeah, I just started using crypto tax calculator, which I do like. Just started. I noticed that anytime you use any crypto calculator for your taxes, you just have to make sure that it coincides with that exchange or decentralized exchange because sometimes they don't cover it.
Right.
Uh, so the good thing is always use major exchange because, like you said, trying to keep track of the history, the records in point of sale and exit, it's really a mess.
Uh,
And
Yeah, I don't see how people can do. People talk about it. Oh, I have a spreadsheet. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. It's
now
just
spreadsheets, yeah, spreadsheets do not work. Trust me, they do not work. You're spending more time all day trying to do some calculations when you could actually use the calculator
the tools. Yeah,
apps.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So I'm
tool
going to
itself.
share a screen here just to make sure this is the one that we're talking about. The
Yes,
crypto tax calculator. Okay, and I see a note that they partnered with Coinbase, or Coinbase partnered with them. And I know last year there was at least a couple that did that as well. And maybe they gave you, like, they would take care of your Coinbase transactions for no charge or something like that. Or do you know what they're doing there?
yeah. They just started it, I believe, last month, from my understanding.
Okay.
But I do like it. So would I recommend it? Absolutely.
Okay. Have you run into any speed bumps with it or anything that it didn't do for you?
Well, like I said, the only thing it wouldn't do is sometimes the dexes, decentralized exchanges. It might cover some of them, but not all of them.
Okay. Now, usually to do that, if you just put in your wallet, like your BNB wallet address, then it would look on the blockchain to see those transactions. regardless of which decks you used, because it's all going through your wallet. Did it give you that option?
I never set it up that way. I just set it up for the major exchanges.
Okay, because like this little demo that's going through on the screen, when
Hmm.
it did add a count, like one of them there was MetaMask. So you
Hmm.
you could select MetaMask and then you put in your MetaMask wallet address because you don't have a MetaMask account, so to speak, like we log into Coinbase with the
Yeah.
email and password kind of thing. So it might be under that, but usually they have, um, yeah, they're like Bitcoin wallet was base wallet, Polygon wallet, that kind of thing. So you may try tracking the transactions by the wallet address, not not the exchange for those DEX ones. And the other thing why you want to do that is because then it'll track if you make a transfer, say you transferred BNB from crypto.com to your MetaMask address, it'll see both ends of that transaction, like the transfer out
Hmm.
and then the transfer in. And it'll recognize, oh, that's the same amount on the same day. This is just a transfer. It's not a taxable event. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because I know that's throwing people for a loop where all of a sudden you're seeing the transactions coming in and it looks like income, like mining rewards or airdrops or something like that. Um, but they didn't have their other end of that transaction tied into the tool yet. So, and once you do that, um, then it'll make more sense. Usually the tool will say, oh, there's an error on this transaction because I don't know what it is or where it came from. And if you see it and go, oh yeah, that's money that came from Coinbase, then you need to add Coinbase to the tool to track that. And then when you rerun it or update it, it'll work right. So yeah, that's really the big process is getting everything linked. And sometimes then it ends up showing you that, oh, there's this other wallet I forgot about, because they'll be like missing parts of the transaction and it'll give you the heads up on
Right. I'd
those.
just like to, yeah, just add another tool, but it's not really related to tax. But on the other hand, it will be because
Okay.
you notice that everybody's talking about the bull run,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Okay. Now you see a lot of people that have a lot of crypto, anywhere from 1 to 100 cryptos. So you can imagine trying to keep track of those cryptos. Now, when you have, let's just say, 100 cryptos, and you're trying to enter and exit, and you're trying to figure out the profit, or you could set it. Hey, I want to go sell my crypto at this dollar amount, and this is going to be my profit. Does anybody out there know what tool to use? Because I ran into one that might be interesting. It's called Merlin. It gives you an entry and exit point and profitability, and it keeps track of it. So let's just say I bought some Polygon for 70 cents, and my exit's going to be a dollar. So it calculates the profit and the point of sale of all these cryptos if you have 100 or 200, etc.
Okay. And then is that just like projecting what your profits or taxes would be, or is
Well,
it tying into somewhere to actually complete the trade at that point?
it's only related to the trade because it's not really related to taxes, but it will be because you have a tax reporting once you sell it, right? Once it gets sold.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe these two might merge together.
Mm.
It's called a Merlin tool,
What
Merlin app,
what's the website here? Let me pull it up and let's see.
Merlin,
Okay.
MERLIN.com.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see here.
So this way you're not doing, once again, this way you're not doing spreadsheets for, you know, entry and exit and profit
Um,
ratio.
this is in a different language than I understand. Oh, there's words I understand. Is this is this the right site, or is it like Merlin dot?
No, no, I
Oh,
think it might
here's
be
I got English up here. Okay, I changed it to English. Is it Yeah, like Merlin.io or
IO.
okay. Come on.
Yeah.
Is it-
I know it was Merlin, but I didn't get the last.
Oh wait, I think it redirected me to the .com. Here comes something. Come on. Let's give it a minute. I'm going to go back to the tax
It's
calculator.
this is Phil. It's merlincrypto.com.
Okay. Thank you. Here we go. Smart way to track. Okay. So does it, let's see what features. Okay. To add API. Okay, because this has actually been one of the features that I've used, or you can use the coin tracking for. Which this is a dashboard. And so sometimes people have asked, how can I keep track of everything? I say, well, go set up one of these accounts because you don't have to pay for it until you do a report on the taxes. Although usually it looks better than this. Maybe they've simplified it. But yeah, okay. So you can do up to 30 API connections to the different manual wallets. Okay. And then always know your value. Create an exit. Oh, okay. So you can kind of put a strategy, and then does it like give you an alert when it gets there, or what happens at the exit point, Gabe?
Well, I just started looking into it. Haven't
Okay.
really used it. Yeah, but it was kind of interesting though to keep track of all the crypto that you have.
Absolutely, because yeah, it's getting out of hand. And this last week or two, I found myself looking at the exchanges and wallets and stuff more than just because it's really fun this timing crypto. So
Mhm.
yeah, let me see the pricing. What do they price it based on? The connections, because I could see if they potentially linked to do a trade, through an API
Mhm.
with your exchange, just like the trading bot does, although it's not doing it that quickly. But yeah, like you said, when you bought one at 70 cents, when it gets to 95, you sell 50% of it or whatever you do. Huh. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
So speaking of pricing, what what are the pricing models for these tax websites? Are they free, or do they charge you only at tax time or monthly? How does that work?
Um, they're pretty much all based on the volume that you're doing. So depending on how many trades you have, then it costs more. So let me go with this one. I haven't logged in. We'll see what these guys say about pricing. Yeah, so this is very, very standard. So you rookie, you get up to 100 transactions, and then you got 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And so you can connect with them and put in all the info and kind of get them working, but they won't actually generate that report or print the forms until you pay.
Oh, I see. So
And it
actually, it costs almost as much as TurboTax does for everything.
potentially, yeah. And it looks like, this one in particular, they offer some advanced reporting, blah, 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 for these higher deals. But this is kind of the norm. But since you mentioned, I wanted to mention the TurboTax thing that it referenced here. And yeah, so this is kind of what this form 8949 is, a standard one that we report on a tax return. So what these tools generally do is take all your trades and generate a PDF of that form. And I, like 2 years ago, mine was like 97 pages long. And then my tax person was filing electronically, and her tool didn't allow her to upload a file that you could like attach to my electronic return. And so I discovered, and she discovered, we kind of worked this together, that there's a place in Austin, Texas that you can physically mail any support documentation for an e-filed return, which, I mean, we're almost all doing, e-filing now. But in this case, there's support documentation. And she originally said, well, because she compiled it or summarized all the numbers like into just a couple fields on what she e-filed, like summarizing the 96 pages or whatever it was. And her comment was, if they have any questions, on this, they'll ask you. And I'm like, well, great. Like I want to get a call or an email from the IRS. And then if they call or email in 2 or 3 years, I'm not going to remember the details or that kind of thing. So I wanted to be proactive, and I said, no, I'm going to give them everything I have now. And so I sent them, to that address and did it that way. So just be aware that if you run into that problem, there at least is a solution already there. But the thing that I haven't seen yet is that's TurboTax integration. I think we've seen something where maybe it generated a file. This seems like it's a little more, probably a better integration than what we've seen in the past. Gabe, were you going to try to do that or just generate one of these other forms?
No, I just made it simple. I don't really need to go with TurboTax integration.
Okay.
So, for me, it works well. I have no issues. And that's one of the reasons I do use it and I do like it.
Yeah. So like Phil, you may talk with your tax person, and it was interesting. A couple years ago, we had actually a CPA on, which happens to be my brother, to talk about from the CPA aspect. And he's not a tech person, didn't know about crypto. And I'm sure it's better now, but these CPAs and stuff, they don't know crypto, all these kinds of things. They're just like, we need to fill out this form, kind of thing. So you may talk to your tax person and say, hey, I'm going to have some crypto transactions. How can I get you that information? Is it simply going to be generating one of these forms and then they can include it? Or are they like, no, we use tool XYZ, and then you might want to look at an online tool like one of these that works with their XYZ program, that kind of thing. Because what would not be cool is you go through all this process and you're like, I see this pretty report, but I can't get the information to your tax person without retyping everything or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So it might make sense to work backwards from how you ultimately file.
Yeah, and there's been some of these other ones that have tax professionals that you can work with. So you go there and I think they even have a model where if you use one of their tax professionals, the site doesn't charge you to use it because they get paid by the tax professional and you pay the tax professional, and that's the way the fee ends up working. So, but just a heads up there, and again, this is evolving a great deal every year. So, yeah, we'll just try to keep up, but that's kind of how they work as far as the pricing. I'm already into my account I haven't paid. See if I upgrade, let's see if yeah, here we go. So this one, yeah. So when you're the mad trader, you get $1,000 for unlimited transactions, DeFi staking, margin trading, all that. Yeah, so I think on Zen I might fall in, because the problem when you're using a bot, they'll do, they might do 15 transactions a day, kind of thing. So, but anyway, this is kind of how they work, the standard model. The more transactions, the more they charge.
I see. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how common packages like TurboTax start to embed this in their own product.
it seems like it would be very easy for them to do, or, link like this integration, like this one talked about, to just pull up, because they have the data, the data is in this tool, and when I did it, I printed it out and generated the report, but they would also generate files, and then it would say, okay, upload this file to TurboTax, or there's a couple others, and then there's a few that I totally didn't recognize the names, because they're like professional tools that only CPAs would recognize. But yeah, that's the fun part of it too.
Yeah,
But the nice thing is you can play with these and put your information in, and and play with them and see how it looks before having to pay for any of them. So you might do that and discover, oh, this one isn't working with my DeFi transactions, and these numbers are, as it comes out. Oh, the other problem with that, related to that, to watch out for, is on these, Tron, Ethereum, Binance, all these ones that work with DeFi, people will create their own coin, and they're kind of a fraudulent coin, and they'll do an airdrop. And so you might get this report, and it says you have 10,000 Michael Jordan coins, and you're like, whoa, and but it says michaeljordan.io, and what they're trying to do is get you to go to michaeljordan.io, connect your wallet, and then they drain the rest of your coins. But the problem is with these tools is they'll pick up those coins and go, oh, you got airdropped, or you received 10,000 Michael Jordan coins, and maybe they figure out they're worth 10 cents a piece, so now that's $1,000 kind of thing. And so those you'll sometimes have to go through and delete from your, like the, not the report, but before it generates the report, so it doesn't deal with those fake or bogus coins. So some of the tools will handle those better than others. Yeah, that's kind of it's kind of like dealing with junk mail or spam. It's these fraudulent coins. So just a heads up there.
I understood what you said, except for the part about them draining your wallet. I thought if you give someone your wallet address, it's only that they can't pull anything out just based on your wallet address. It's not like your private key.
Correct. But the way the DEX work, let's see. Let's go to Uniswap. Hello. But the way the DEXs, or the decentralized exchanges, work, the way they work is it's like this button up here will say connect your wallet, and so that connects my wallet that's in my browser or wherever to this DEX to be able to trade from Ethereum to Aave or whatever. And so it actually connects to my wallet to pull the Ethereum out and put the Aave in. And if you had a fake site, now everybody, well, at least the people that are into DEXs understands Uniswap, was like the original one, and that's all good. But if you go to some other scammy one and it says connect your wallet, you're like, oh yeah, I've done this before. And whatever you do here, they're just going to connect and steal your funds, type of thing. So
I see. So it's critically important that you put in the right domain name when you go to these sites.
It's like, this is like going to a merchant and having trust in that merchant. You wouldn't just walk down the street and there's some booth saying, hey, we're selling, the magic formula to aging or whatever. And you're like, oh, here's my Visa, and they charge $1,000 on your card or something like that. So yeah, so you want to go to the site, Uniswap here, this is the big one on Ethereum, Pancake Swap for BNB, etc. But and that's how they're getting people, because the coin name that shows up in your wallet looks, or is a domain name. And so you're like, oh, let me go there and check it out. And then you get into trouble. So So
Got it.
yeah, but
Got it.
that good question if you haven't worked with these decks is a whole lot. Okay, let's see. Michael, what about you? If you gotten any into the crypto tools yet this year, or any roadblocks?
I have not been really busy with so many other things. I've just been buying and holding for years now. So I do have one Ethereum that I had bought and sold, so I'm going to have to deal with that. So knowing about these, like this crypto tax calculator, that'll be helpful. But I only have maybe 5 transactions, so it's not like I couldn't figure that out on my own. Although if I could get a report and I could just add it to my tax, I do use TurboTax. So if I could integrate it, that would make it a lot easier. But I haven't done this. That's why I wanted to come again and watch this, see
Yeah.
what other people are doing, so I don't have to do as much investigating. So I appreciate, Gabe, you sharing what you've shared today. Thank you.
Yeah, and can you hear us now, Gabe? I got your chat here. Oh, yeah, I think you just muted. You were unmuted a second ago. Yeah, so Michael, you might even be able to use one of these, like this. Well, yeah, even this one, 25 transactions or less for free. Because the real problem is knowing how much Ethereum was on those specific days.
I happened to write it all down.
Okay. Okay.
Notebook with it all filled out when I got the first one at 1,300, and then I sold it like at 550 or 1,600, and then it went down, bought it again, that kind of thing.
Right. Writing
I
these
wish I'd
down.
held on to it all this time, though, actually.
Yeah,
Remember I told you that was my 1-year experiment.
exactly. Yeah.
From buy and hold to, which I typically do, to actually trading something. And it ended up being that I did make a little bit more money while trading, but it would have been significantly less stressful just to leave it be.
Absolutely. Let me see.
Now,
Also, don't you get a lower long-term capital tax rate if you hold it for a year or longer?
and that's why the majority of my Bitcoin, Ethereum, other coins I've held for, some of it's been not moved for 4 years. So yeah, I'll get the 20% tax thing, but it was just an experiment I was running from 22 to 23, in terms of trading. That I'll have to pay whatever my aggregate tax percentage is, right? Those are not long-term capital gains, like you said. The 4 years plus stuff, yeah, that's all 20%. But the other stuff, I'll get taxed at whatever my normal rate is.
Right.
Yeah, and we kind of had that meeting last month talking about trading versus the long-term kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like you said, Michael, like the Ethereum one that you wanted to keep long-term, it probably makes more sense to just hold it. But if you want to just make some quick money, trading any coin and you don't really care which coin it is because you're trading it for 5 minutes at a time, then the trading makes sense. So
Well, like
both
you said, I
sides.
could use the 25 transactions or less because my trades were probably a couple months in between each trade. I mean, it's barely even classified as a trade, really.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
In terms of, quote unquote trading. So like your bot that does 15, 20 things a day, that's what I consider trading, in and out. So but it's good to see that I can go and figure out what this is for very little money or no money at all, the free one.
Yeah, and most of them are like that. I think when I started with the coin tracking, it was 200 trades for free. So you could certainly, probably try a few of them, for sure. And yeah, when you said notebook, to me, the notebook is kind of like the prehistoric version of the spreadsheet. So how old are you, Michael?
I'm 22. Thank you for asking.
Sorry, you set yourself up for that one.
I know.
All right. We kid because we love. It's all good.
That's right. That's right, Bradley.
Yeah. And I think it was just after, just to follow up on your comment about the trading bot, I finally did stop the Ethereum Bitcoin one and moved over to was it ADA and USDT, and it's like been on fire. I mean, obviously everything's been on fire, but it's like holy cow. So I'm
So
glad I
Brad,
can
now
hop
that you've
back.
had a full year of using this trading bot, what was your percentage for the course of that year? You know, what was your return on investment? You know, say based upon $1,000, was it 20%, 40%, -10?
Yeah, no, let me see. I think I'm still, oh, I'm gonna log in. Hold on a second. Let me see. Because I'm up to my total profit is $343. Um, and that
What's your
still with
cost
a
basis against that?
yeah, it's still like about $1,000, $1,200 that I've been
So you're talking
working with.
30%.
Yeah. Now this last, well, let me bring it up and I'll get another going here.
Now, see, 30% in a bear market, you know, that's when that bot trading would be very effective. But now in a bull market where you can do 30% in some cases in a day,
Or at least a week. Yeah.
or at least a week, right? I
Right.
mean, you know, just look at some of these crazy things here. Um, you know, in a bull market, for me, it doesn't make sense to do a bot. It's just better to buy it and hold it for a little bit because you're going to do just fine because the bull market will pull you into profit every day.
Yeah. So this is what it is. So, I mean, the last 7 days I've averaged, was that $5.50 a day? You know, and these numbers that I have assigned, this is theoretically how much money is in each bot. But like we talked in the past, I've over assigned the funds. I don't actually have $1,700 in the account to work with. So I'm kind of trying to get the bot to trade more on each trade. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now. So yeah, I kind of think about it. I go, oh, if I just added a zero, you know, to what funds I was working with and that kind of thing. So anyway, I'm still gonna keep it going. But yeah, I've been back and forth because really that Ethereum and Bitcoin that I had in the bot, I just closed the bot and I just held each of those. And then I went and started working with this Cardano on this one, and the Matic's been going for a while. So anyway, a little update on that. Okay, so yeah, so Michael, you can probably use a couple of these, generate that at least like a 1 or 2 page report and have all that data using any
Yeah,
of
I'm
these.
definitely going to check that out when we're done here, especially this crypto tax calculator. That seems like, you know, they've got a pretty good handle on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
good. And then this coin ledger, again, this is the one that Chris had talked about last year that he had worked with, and Zen Ledger was good too. Their big thing for me 2 years ago, or reporting 2 years ago, was that they understood the DeFi, like they talk about here. And then the staking and stuff too is good. But yeah. Okay.
California just came out with something on staking. Did you see any of that?
I don't think so. That just the last couple of weeks here.
Yeah, like this week, something. I saw a headline. I didn't read too much of it. I was just wondering if you saw that
No,
or anybody else saw that.
it should be pretty. I mean, to me, it's just like earning interest. So we already have interest that we earn on CDs and savings accounts and whatever. So I don't. It seemed like crypto people wanted it to be different than that, and to me, that was a very clear, you know, type of income. Was that
Yeah, absolutely.
okay? Okay. Yeah, it looks like Gabe's back. Can you hear us? Hopefully, you can hear us. He's unmuted. If we can hear him, we're be the full Monty. Go for it, Gabe. I think. I can't hear him. It looks like his microphone. Can you guys don't hear him, do you?
I
No.
just hear you and Phil.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Huh. Okay. Any other questions we can answer on these crypto things or these tax deals, just as far as details? Yeah, it looks like what I haven't understood. I wasn't sure the way cointracking did it when they talked about the number of transactions. Yeah, this site looks really weird. I don't know if this is like a mobile version. This looks like crap. But when they were talking about the number of transactions, if they're talking about in total or per year, because at first I thought, okay, if I'm doing 5,000, less than 5,000 transactions a year, I'm good here. But if that's going back, 4 years, maybe I have 7,000 transactions. I don't know, because part of the problem is you might have something that you bought 3 years ago and you didn't sell it, till last year. And so it needs to go back 3 years to find your purchase price and your, for your cost basis kind of thing. So I'm not sure on that. When I click, this one is talking about multiple years and save. I don't know if this is talking about in the future or going back but keep that in mind if you're, I don't
I
know.
would guesstimate that is the number of transactions that they would include, irregardless of when the transactions were actually made.
Right.
Right. Especially when you see something like this, add multiple years and save. Or now, as I read that more, it sure seems to me like that is per year, Brad. Right there, 149 per year, 5,000 transactions. So that is not over a cumulative time period. That's over the course of a year. I mean, that's the way I read it.
Yeah, but the problem is if some of the things that you sold this year, I mean, do they just look at it and go, okay, everything from January 1st, 23 to December 31st, 23. But if you had transactions before that for your cost basis, and
The funny thing is, for someone like me, that little test that I did, I started in November 22, ended in November 23. So do I get 2 free accounts?
well, yeah, I don't know how that, yeah. I mean, but just something to be aware of that. To me, it seems like it's going to have to be that number of transactions in total, because that's what it has to deal with to figure out, your taxes for the count for, 2023.
Well, look down there for your total. Okay. So you've meaning there's $238.40 and you click 2 years. Click 24 and 25 and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
obviously it's on a per year. It looks to me to be on a per year basis.
Right. But you have to choose this plan because I've got more than 100 transactions.
Yeah. What they're saying is that you've got 5,000 or less transactions in 23, 24, and 25. And so that's what you're buying.
Yeah.
That's what you're buying for.
I think the years that you select are the years that it's going to generate the report for.
Interesting. It only goes back to 2022.
Yeah.
So,
if we're still behind.
I have not seen anything. Now, perhaps I've just missed it. You're much more attuned to these things, Brad, but a lot of us have been in this since I've been in it since July of 2017. So that's 5 years before 2022. And I know you've probably been in a little bit longer than that. So, are they not looking for what your transactions were during those periods? I mean, I haven't seen something that says, if it says it like this, if you've been trading crypto since X date, July 1st, 2017, that's between then and now is when you have to figure out whatever your taxes are on that. I talked with other friends of mine about, will there be a specific date and time that they say, okay, this is your cost basis point date, January 1st, 2022, that whatever your cost basis was on that day forward is what you minus from wherever you are now. So if your cost basis was 20 grand and now you have $50,000 in crypto, your net profit is $30,000. Your cost base is 20 and your net profit is 30.
Sell. Well,
Does
why
that make
wouldn't
sense?
yeah, but why wouldn't they go back to when you purchased it in 2018, for
I
example?
agree, but I mean, I just haven't seen anything where they say definitively,
Okay.
that you have to do that. When did they make what if you bought Bitcoin and you've held it since 2010, 2011? I mean,
You
you're
got a
talking
big profit, yeah,
you're talking a couple million% profit.
right? And so you
I
pay
heard the
your
other day on
30%.
CNBC that they said from the cost of Bitcoin from the start to the cost of Bitcoin today, it's up 70 million%.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, so I don't know. I'm just saying that I just haven't seen a specific date and time when they've said you need to pay taxes on this from this date forward because we've determined that this is an asset that we require you to pay taxes on. That's all I'm stating.
Yeah. Well, to me, it seems that you would have your cost basis from when you bought it, and you bought it one day, you sold it the other day.
No,
And,
I get that. I'm just saying a definitive statement from the IRS stating from the date, what is the date? What is the minimum date going back in time that you have to pay from? Because, who's out there reporting their profits in 2012, 2013, 2015? IRS didn't even really pay attention to that. I mean, 2015, Bitcoin was only $100 or something like that.
so you're talking about when they sold it in 2015?
I'm talking about, do you have to report if you bought it in 2015? You bought it in January, you sold it in December. Is the IRS requiring you to pay taxes on that? Did they classify that as an asset?
Okay.
Right, at that time, or whatever they classify it as, so that they could tax it. They didn't even start posting on your forms until 2 years ago, 2022, maybe 2021, I think, that they started asking, did you trade any crypto?
Correct. Right.
That just started. So
Right.
that's the type of thing I'm talking about, Brad.
Okay. I thought you were talking about something that you had bought back in 2015 and you sold last year.
No, that's different. You're going to
Yeah.
have to go on a cost basis, but I'm just saying is
Got
that,
it. Got it.
is there a particular point in time? Because there's been lots of discussion of people that I've talked to over the years as to, is there a point in time in the past that the IRS determines that you need to start reporting on the crypto from that date forward? Am I making myself clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and I would think at that point, we're past the 7 years or whatever, so there might be some they're not going to go back on.
Sure.
But I'm sure they added that question to start like, okay, this guy's been trading, or dealing with it or whatever kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
They want to know where their next $1,000 is so they can blow that and turn that into a negative $2,000 for the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sad but true.
Yeah. And the other thing is these tools keep getting better and crypto's evolving, just like the DeFi that we talked about. When that first year with the DeFi, I used two tools. I went through multiple times trying to look at the transactions, make sure that they were legit, because there was some of those bogus ones that I had last year or 2 years ago, I pull up the thing and CoinTracker told me that I had profited 3.3 million. And I'm like, really? I didn't even know I had 3.3 million, but I certainly took a look just to make sure I didn't have some coin sitting somewhere that was worth 3.3 million. You know, but obviously that wasn't, unfortunately. But I did the best I could with the tools that we had then. And so, you know, maybe now or in a couple of years, we'll have better tools that you could theoretically go back to calendar year 2021 and figure out my profits more accurately. And if I miss $74 of profits, I'm happy to pay it. But I did the best I could then with the tools that I had, you know, at that point. So yeah, it is a kind of the chicken
That's
and the
also
egg
one of the
thing.
reasons why I decided just to become a hodler, is that it was just too complex. There's so many things in and out. Um, it was more complex than my stock trading, which I've been doing since '82. You know, that's pretty simple. I bought the stock at $22. I sold it at 29, or I sold it at 17, plus minus, boom, there you go. I made money, I lost money. But
Yeah, and you have the
this,
exchange to help you too, because it's all in their
absolutely,
system, so they can, you know, here's your reporting forms and go
it was
from
very
there.
simple. You generate a report, and there it is. You put it into your tax thing, and it's simple. But crypto was a little more difficult. It's these programs like this, like the one that Gabe brought up and you brought up in the past, these make things significantly more convenient and easy to do.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, yeah, because there's no way you can do it, because you know, even going back to like one of your Ethereum trades, well, did you, or when you purchased it, did you buy it at 9 o'clock in the morning and it was $1,350, or in the evening and it was $1,292? You know, I don't know.
Well, I have
Kind
my
of,
notebook there.
but your notebook.
So
All right, you brought it up again. Okay, but you're right.
no,
No,
but
that
it
these
does
tools
work.
help.
Okay, it did, but it's like I told you, I only had a small number of trades.
Right, right,
For
right, right.
something like what you do, where you got that bot going and you got 15 trades every day, I mean, obviously you're trading, you know, you've got thousands of trades in a year at 15 trades a day.
Absolutely, yeah.
You
And that
know,
it's not every day. It goes back and forth, and it's. I mean, it's picked up since. I mean, everything crypto's picked up in the last 2 weeks. You look at the volumes. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, now
absolutely.
it's the thing.
Well, I
So
mean, even if you have just 200 or 300 trades, I mean, I say that just off the cuff, just 200 or 300 trades. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of plus minusing that, you know, you would rather
right,
be having a Mai Tai or something like that than having to
then
deal with that.
running the numbers. Yeah,
Yeah, and running the numbers. You know, you haven't
absolutely.
even talked briefly, Brad, about 70K plus Bitcoin. You haven't even mentioned that, my friend.
Well, I mean, that's maybe a topic for next year, because we're talking about calendar year last year for taxes. But
No, I'm just the fact that we hit 70 plus K. That's all.
oh, for sure, for sure. And I looked at mine, and I'm actually more happy with my long-term theta. I don't know if you remember, we've talked about theta a few times. It's the only one that I've actually read the white paper, but I have got a chunk of that. And that one day when Bitcoin went up like 5 or 6,000 or something, you know, that like 9% that day, I looked and theta had gone up like 40%. I'm like, whoa, I was much more happier with that. But yeah, the other ones are going up too. So it's crazy. It's the whole market's getting dragged up, at least the good ones. Um, yeah, no, we can probably definitely be celebrating that in a couple weeks here in person, at me and Ed's. So, all right. Any other things to cover on these tax tools you guys can think of? Is there any other, like TurboTax is still the big one? Even though I guess it's free now, and their model is to pay for a human assistant if you need help or that kind of thing. And you know, who knows? Um, yeah, I haven't seen too many other ones listed as far as integrating here. An audit report. I don't even know what. Yeah. Oh, this is interesting. A DeFi tax guide. Because like those airdrops, those should be, I would think, would be taxes just regular income. The problem there is if they crash in value, 90% and you've got taxed at what they were when they got airdropped. But that's part of the fun, I guess. Altcoin. Yeah, Gabe, I think you said you can hear, are there any, I know you like some of the small coins. Did you have any small coins that crypto tax calculator didn't pick up? Because I know that can potentially be a problem. If you want to just type it in. Because when they're talking historical prices for all micro cap meme coins, what does that include? I mean, there's just so many dang coins now. I noticed the other day on Coin Market Cap, in this upper left, it used to have like, yeah, cryptos, 2.2 million. We have 2.2 million different cryptos. It used to be like 5,000 or 20,000, but now we were up to 2 million. I just can't see these tools tracking 20 or 2 million different coins. Okay, good. Gabe says I picked up all the transactions. Okay. All right. When some of that terminology, it seemed a little all encompassing.
Hey, Brad,
Yeah.
that I was just thinking more about the point you made about the airdrop. I hadn't really thought about it until you said it, but yeah, if you get airdropped and it's counted as income and it's valued at the market value of the coin or token on the day you get it, you could really get hosed if the value drops suddenly after that, and maybe you didn't even have a hand in getting the airdrop. Someone just sent it to your wallet or something.
Absolutely. Yeah, with that theta at one point when they added the T fuel, you got 5 T fuels for every theta that you had, type of thing. But I mean that kind of thing has happened countless times. And I mean I remember when Bitcoin was going up and down back in 17, 18, you could have theoretically made all this money, but by the time tax time came around, it had gone down so much you didn't even have the money in the account to pay for the taxes that you had accumulated, or the taxes on the gains you had accumulated, type of thing. So yeah, it can get ugly.
But what do you do if you don't want to have anything to do with the airdrop? Can you just get rid of it and scratch it, or how did that work?
It's an airdrop is equivalent of somebody coming by your house and putting a box, or a letter in your mailbox or a box, on your property. But unfortunately, we can't just throw it away because it's on the blockchain. With these reporting tools, you can delete it, or like delete it from their system, or ignore it or something like that, so it doesn't come up and say that you have $3.3 million. I just ignored that one and my balance came down. Okay, you made $1,700 instead of 3.3 million, that type of thing. But it's still on the blockchain, and so we can't do anything there. Yeah. And that's the thing where if I made up some scam coin today and sent it 10,000 to each of you, the IRS might not even know it, or these tools may not know it because they don't know to look for the Brad fraud coin, kind of thing. But what's the value of it? And that's where it gets tricky, because sometimes they make the coins sound like, or they make up a symbol that's the same as a real coin. And because I remember there was one I got that was the same as Monero, and so the tool just thought it was Monero, and it was like, oh, that's why you have $1 million or whatever, because Monero has an actual value. But there's nothing you can do to not get it, like like put up a fence around your house saying no, don't give me that free package. There's nothing we can do that way. So
Interesting.
yeah. And then it seems like it would almost be, the onus would be on the IRS to prove that it had a value. If it wasn't, it's not like you traded it. Like, it'd be one thing if you transferred it from that wallet address to crypto.com and sold it, and they're like, well, look, you sold those 10,000 coins 2 days later and you got $700. for it, and like, okay. But if it just sat in your on that wallet address and you never moved it or sold it, it'd be hard, and there's no activity showing trades at any certain value, which is usually what happens on those when they do those airdrops, because it's not like they're going to give you a coin, 10,000 tokens that's worth $1,000. That would be crazy. That's not the world we live in, unfortunately. So as far as the value of that day, now maybe it's a new project and 3 years later it goes through the roof and those coins are worth 10,000, but they were worth nothing when you got it, maybe 17 cents or something. So, but yeah, one wacky thing to think about. Yeah, you got some good questions, Phil. Anything else you come up looking at these? Have you gotten into DeFi? Have you done some DeFi transactions?
No, and I actually don't plan to in the near future. Right now, my next thing is to focus on moving my crypto out of the centralized exchanges onto a self-custody wallet. And what I didn't realize is that not all the wallets support all the altcoins. So if I have like, I think I have like 20 different coins, not a lot in each one, but it's very diversified.
Mhm.
And I didn't pick them randomly. I was very selective about certain projects I liked or coins. But I'm realizing that you know, I might need more than one wallet, and reading more about this, apparently that's not uncommon.
Correct. Because it's work for each of the wallets to support a coin type of thing. And there's been some talk in the past that, they'll charge, $10,000 to support, like this Exodus wallet I've used for a long time. You can do it on your computer, or on your phone, or both. But, they can't keep up if there's, a dozen coins coming out every week type of thing.
Right. So when I look at the support, it's really kind of is this correct? There's kind of two levels of support. One, they talk about the network, the crypto network. I guess they're talking about the blockchain itself.
Right,
And then the
right.
next level would be the individual coin or token.
And that's a very good point, because obviously, like Ethereum, is number 2 coin, first for DeFi, all kinds of projects there. But there's thousands of tokens on the Ethereum chain, and they, like Exodus, might support 200 or 300 of those tokens, but the other 50,000 they don't. And so the problem is, if they're not supported, you don't see them there, and then you can't go and sell them because there's not a button to click on for that coin. It's there on the chain. If you transfer it from, say crypto.com or wherever to this wallet address, that's, Exodus wallet address, but it's like they don't give you a button to go to that coin to transfer it back to another exchange to sell or to transfer to somebody else or whatever. Yeah. So you don't lose it, you just don't have access to it. And in that case, what you would have to do would be to pull out the private key out of the Exodus wallet, which you can do, and then go to like a web wallet, or some other wallet that does support it, and basically import your address into that wallet and use that tool. That makes sense.
Yeah, I see.
So, but yeah, be careful on that, because, and then the other thing with especially with the hardware wallets, they'll say, oh, we support, 150 coins. But the thing is, they don't necessarily support 150 all at once, because there's a limited amount of memory in that little device. And so they'll load on an app to support each, like blockchain. So I was helping a client do that, and so it was limited. I think this was one of the first Trezors. And so we put on the little app for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I think Litecoin. And then all of a sudden we went to do another one, and it was like, oh, sorry, memory full, on the device. We're like, wait a minute, this thing supports 200 coins, but it's not all at once. was the
Right.
problem kind of thing. So I think they're getting a little better with that, the way they're set up and working, but that's just something to be aware of there. So in that case, I told her, okay, let's put all your high value coins on this, cold storage wallet. And then she started an Exodus wallet to support, to put on coins, 4 through 20, or whatever other one she had, type of thing. Because I always hate to see people spend $100 on a wallet to hold $500 worth of coins, type of thing. It's one thing if it's, 200,000, $100,000 to, pay $100 for a wallet, but I'd rather see them invest that $100 in more tokens and hold it on Exodus or something similar, kind of thing.
Sure.
But that is something to watch out for. Usually the projects will always have a wallet to support their coins. So if you bought it on XYZ exchange and want to put it on your own wallet, you should be able to get one from that project. The problem there is, like you said, you have 20 or 50 coins and you might have the first 20 supported by a wallet, but the other, you don't want to have 30 other wallets with one for each coin. That gets to be a little nuts.
Right. The other thing I discovered is that the support is kind of dodgy. For example, I had an issue with Coinbase, and while I really like the platform, the support was horrendous. I mean, I don't know if anybody else has experienced that, but I reported a bug, and it was a legitimate
Oh.
bug and screenshots and everything. And it took me to get to like the third or fourth person before they even understood it, and still haven't fixed it. But I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty much the norm for crypto. So if you get anything better than that, that's outside the norm, type of thing. And I know with Coinbase, I had a debit card and was using it because I was earning rewards, in like XLM. I'd buy a tank of gas and I'd, earn rewards. I got the card got hacked. I got a new card. It was working. And then all of a sudden it stopped working. And I'm like, I talked to somebody, I'm like, the card's declined. I have funds in there because it just pulls from your USD balance. And they're like, no, we can't discuss that with you or something. I'm like, wait, the card is being declined. Who do I talk to? And so I kind of just ran into a brick wall. So
Right. Yeah, I think that's one area where TradFi still has an edge over DeFi, is that you can pick up the phone, talk to somebody if you have to. I think Coinbase might support that if your wallet or if your account got hacked, kind of like on an emergency basis. But for any other routine support thing, you're starting off with a chat, and then if it doesn't get resolved, it moves to email, and it's just kind of a long, burdensome process.
yeah, there's somebody I knew that had problem with KuCoin. They had inadvertently set up a second account because one, they had using their phone number and one was using their email, and they didn't realize they had two different accounts, and so they wanted to merge them, but she couldn't like verify the second one with her social because it was already under the other account. But kudos to her, she must have been close to 2 months back and forth and got it resolved. I was like, kudos to you, because I mean she had to put in the work though, but they did it. But it did take time for sure. Where normally you'd kind of pick up the phone and call, this is a situation. Oh, okay, do this, do that. Because the real problem was the KuCoin representative, there was no way for her to confirm who she's talking to. Is it me that found her password list and was trying to compromise her account or that kind of thing? So that's part of the problem. But try to just expect no support, and if you get it, be happy. But that's kind of why we're here, to help each other.
Yeah, but I think, the crypto experienced people on this call are pretty savvy and sophisticated and can work through this. I think for your garden variety investor, it would be very challenging. And maybe that's where the ETF comes in, because now you're working, with a broker where you can pick up the phone, where you have one throat to choke, and you aren't going to have all this complexity.
Right. And those platforms and whole systems have been in place for 40 years to buy and sell stocks. And this is just another stock mutual fund ETF type of thing. So yeah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. Any last minute questions, issues? Susan, we haven't heard from you for a while. I know you're into the other stuff. I'm sure something kind of ticked something in your brain you might have a question on. Hopefully she didn't completely tune us out.
Oh no, this is so fantastic. I'm just loving all the exposure.
Okay. Well, when we're gonna definitely have to celebrate when we get you a Coinbase wallet or something. Are you here in the Fresno area?
Yes.
Okay. Well, feel free to come out to our meetings at me and Ed's and pick our brains or whatever. But like you said, it's not quite your time or whatever. So we're here when you're ready.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay. And Phil, are you here? Are you in Fresno Clovis area?
No, I'm in San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you're welcome as well. I know probably a little much of a drive just to see Michael and I and some other folks, but we do those once a month in person, and it's always fun, especially the whenever there's a new person, usually their comment is it's so great just to be able to talk about crypto to somebody else because none of my friends or family know anything about this.
Oh, exactly. And the jargon, you don't realize once you're in it a while, but the jargon is so different from anywhere else that you could be having a conversation and somebody overhearing wouldn't have any idea what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Michael, any last minute thoughts or any topic ideas for future meetings?
Not right now, Brad. You kind of come up with the good ones here, and I'm glad that we went over this again today because I'm doing my taxes this week, and it's a good time to catch up on what's new and hear what's new. But I feel if you ever around and you can come by on one of the Sundays, there's a lot of really interesting discussion. Sometimes people come just to that and they don't necessarily show up on the Zoom calls, but you get some interesting people coming in person. And it is great to be able to talk to other people that, you can throw out jargon that most people would look at you like, are you having a seizure? No, I'm just talking crypto, baby. And so it's if you're nearby, it's certainly worthwhile.
Yeah,
That's
if you're
great. Okay, well,
cool.
I'll see if I can make it. By that time, I will have practiced engraving on my titanium cold wallet.
Oh, there you go. We can compare. Yeah, there's some cool little tools out there for that for sure. Cool, cool. Okay, guys. Well, have a good rest of your weekend, and Michael, I'm going to be doing my taxes as well, getting that report out of KuCoin and into one of these tools and getting that finished up here pretty quick, hopefully. So I'll see some of you next in a couple weeks in person, and then next month on the Zoom. You have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Brad, for the efforts you put out all the time. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you very much.
No
Thank
worries.
you. Good weekend.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.